Yo, this is Craig Owens from the band CHIODOS, and you're watching PitCam TV.
Hey, I'm Monica with PitCam, and I'm here with Craig from CHIODOS. Hey.
Hi.
So, Vans Tour Europe.
Yep.
Excited?
I am. I'm really excited, especially the last date we played, like the last show we've played, was Warped Tour in the States, and that was in August. Mm-hmm. So even just walking into the room, there's a certain energy there that I miss.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to get on stage.
Well, you guys have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't spent all that much time over here. Can we expect that to change now?
Oh, guilty. Yo, you caught us.
I was actually there. So it was Magnet Club,
Really?
2009.
Yeah, we've made a conscious effort this time around. When I was doing a lot of touring with the last band I was in, Drugs, after the CHIODOS thing, we really did a lot of touring over here, and with that I brought some kind of new experience with it back to the guys in CHIODOS. So I think we're going to really make a conscious effort to spend more time here. I mean, that's it. Before, it would be like once every year and a half, or something like that. Once every 2 years sometimes. This time we're trying to be over here, a good anywhere from 2 to 5 times a year. Oh. So we're really making a conscious effort.
Not bad.
Yeah.
You've been back in the band for about a year now.
Yeah.
What's it like being back?
Scary.
Yeah.
No, good. It's a little overwhelming. But at the same time comfortable, because these are guys I grew up with. We went to school together, literally grew up with. But at the same time, what happened is not forgotten. You know, I think it's important that we remember it, and that we don't just pretend like everything's great. That way we can learn from our mistakes and move forward together. So I'm confident, excited, and I think that there's a renewed energy and relationship within the band now. We just finished the new record, and the fact that we made it out alive should say something.
So you mentioned you did Warped Tour in the US.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Crazy, because it was the first full CHIODOS tour since we got back together. Yeah. And your head, at least my head, tells me sometimes like maybe people won't care, things like that. It's been a while. We haven't really released music in this lineup since like 2007 or 8. So the moment we got on stage and saw how massive the crowds were and that everybody was into it was really reaffirming to our passion that we have for the band, to see that people still cared as much as we did. So it was necessary. I think it was a necessary experience, and a really positive one. And I think moving forward, we're going to take that energy and be able to throw it. It kind of put us right back to where it is where we left off.
Cool.
You know.
I've been watching a couple of video clips from your performances at Warped, and what I noticed was that you don't play any songs off of Illuminati.
Right.
Why is that? I know you're not on it, but why don't you play any of it?
Well, I think that we may end up doing that. Right now, I think it's about more moving forward and recapping what it is that we did. You know, especially on Warped Tour, we really wanted to go back and show what it is that we once were, and let people know that we are that. Yeah. But I wouldn't necessarily rule out any chance of doing any stuff off Illuminati. But at the time, I didn't feel comfortable. Okay. Just to be like candid about it, I didn't really feel comfortable singing someone else's words as if they were from my heart. Yeah. You know what I mean? I play with a lot of passion, and I think it might be a little fake, but it is something that I do want to do at some point, just out of respect to the guys and the art that they created while we were apart.
What do you think of the record?
To be honest, I didn't really listen to it very much. That's like visiting your old girlfriend's Facebook and like seeing her new like boyfriend and they're so happy and that stuff, and I'm just not into that. I can't do it.
You recently signed with a new label, Versus Ties. How has that affected the band?
In a positive way, I think. We have our own imprint on that label, so I think it's given us the creative control necessary, but also given us the funds to maintain that creative control and to do everything that we do comfortably. So it's a positive experience so far.
And you've recently been recording your new album.
Yes.
What can you tell me about the whole writing process and recording process?
Well, first off, I can tell you that's awesome. The writing process had been happening for about a year. A year from maybe like, I think October of last year, Brad and I started writing. And then we did a lot of it before Warped Tour, and we were hoping to actually record before the last summer's Warped Tour, but unfortunately we weren't able to do that. So we went in and we moved to this random farm in upstate New York. And on my walk from the house we were staying in to the studio, there was, I passed goats and like llamas and horses. So being out in the real world's a little scary to me now. It's great, all of us pitched in more than ever. There's people that steer the ship at certain times creatively, and I think that's necessary. But I think everybody actually got a chance to steer the ship this time. So I'm really confident that everybody had kind of an equal part of the record, and like I said, it's awesome.
Illuminati is it's 3 years ago since
Right,
and like we said, you weren't even on it.
Right, yeah.
So I'm sure there are huge expectations out there. You nervous about that?
No, I'm not nervous about it. I usually, I'm not gonna lie and say that stuff never plays a factor and act all cool kid. I will be honest and say that it is something that was on our minds, and you will see jitters from us every once in a while because of it. I think that's natural, but luckily in those situations we seem to thrive. So.
What can you tell me about the sound of the record? What kind of sound can we expect?
Well, it's our third record, and I don't really want to get too typical on you because it's what everybody says. There are hints of our first and our second record, and then it's a more mature sound.
Everybody says that.
I know. I wish I had something better to say. I can say that it's a lot different with Thomas now, because the guitar player from Fall of Troy, that's his first time doing a record with us.
He's been writing as well, or?
Yeah, he wrote on the whole record too. So having his guitar work and being able to perform over top of it has added a new dynamic to what it is that we do that I think is going to be pretty unmatched, and I don't think it'll be too much like everything we've done before. It's heavy, it's artistic, it's theatrical, it's mature, and lyrically on this record, I wanted to take responsibility for my platform. Instead of sitting there looking in the mirror and saying, woe is me, I wanted to, and that's no pun towards the band or anything, but I wanted to look in the mirror and say, what's happened to me and how can I make that transcend and help someone else. So I think we took a lot more responsibility for the platform that we built for ourselves, and I think that it's, like I said, it's more aimed at situations as opposed to just my situation.
When can we expect it to come out, approximately?
Well, right now the label is telling us March,
okay.
Right? But we're gonna try and fight for it sooner. There's kind of an ongoing joke between us that we just want it to be earlier, because it's being mixed right now. We got the first mix today. We're doing it while on this tour, and we are just pushing and pushing and pushing so we can get it out sooner. So it's been too long, and we're ready. We're ready. So
for the past couple of years, you've been doing different stuff, and also little solo stuff.
Yeah.
You just released a cover of Bikini Kill's "Rebel Girl."
Yeah.
How did that project come to be?
Well, what it was. It goes back to the platform, right? Trying to take responsibility for the platform as opposed to consider it a curse or just make it a selfish endeavor. On the tour, the Warped Tour, it was difficult for me because it was my first tour back in a long time. Yep. And sometimes I felt like it was a really narcissistic, selfish thing. I felt like it was just hard for me. And it made me question, am I out here just selling myself, or am I out here for a purpose? And so I had to combat ways and try and use my platform for good as opposed to just selfish endeavors. So with that being said, I always watch so many documentaries, read so many books, things like that, and I came across this documentary called Girl Rising, which talks about women's rights and just keep the education and all of these things. And it kind of blew me away, like the facts for the states that we have to deal with and that women have to deal with. And it kind of blew me away. So I've always been a big fan of Bikini Kill, and when I got the opportunity to do it, I was all over it. It took a day to do with Dave Trumfio, the guy that did it, and who's also like one of my favorite producers. And yeah, it was casual and good-hearted and done for the right reasons. So I'm proud of it.
Cool. Because I mean, let's be honest. Even in this scene with its young people, sexism is still an issue.
It really is. Yeah, I absolutely agree. It still is, and you see it everywhere. And that's why one of the charities that we're donating to is Girls Rock Camp. And what they do is they just educate and show these girls, what's acceptable, basically, and what to stand for and what not to stand for. And unfortunately, I see it every day with the sexism backstage. So it's a frustrating topic when we get on it. So I knew that it was right for me to do something and get kind of passionate about it.
How have the reactions been from the fans?
Musically, I think that it aims towards a fairly older crowd. It's simple. It's very like Cage the Elephant, Jack White-esque music, distortion on the vocals, things like that. No auto-tune, nothing like that. The chorus, is very like ganged up like a Nirvana song. Same with the end. So I think musically, it was odd for people to listen to at the split of the generation, right? Like the younger kids, I don't think get it, but the older kids, I think love it.
Will you continue doing solo stuff?
Probably. I really don't want to call it like Craig Owens. That like bothers me because that's me, and I have to like get my mail and it says that. I don't like it. It takes away from, I think, like when I compartmentalize things, I want it to be separate. I want to be a separate human being from outside of this because there's so many different avenues. I don't want to be contrived into, I don't want to see my name on a t-shirt. Things like that bother me.
Or your face.
Yeah, it bothers me. But I will continue to do things like that. I'd like to continue doing different things for charity. I think I'd like to do something for hunger next. I watched a documentary called A Place at the Table recently that just blew me away. And it's about American poverty. And it's something that I feel really strongly about and something that I'm not really going to back down on. So I don't want to spread myself too thin because I want to make sure that I make somewhat of an impact. But I think that getting it started somewhere comes with knowledge. And I think as long as 5 people learn something, hopefully they spread that, and maybe I can inspire someone to do something else. Because at first I was just going to donate money, and I'd rather take that money, put it into what it is that I do, pay for the studio time, and then make sure that the message gets out to everyone, because I think that the knowledge is kind of where you start.
Earlier this week, you wrote something on Facebook which caught my eye. You wrote, "I do what I do because of my passion and my love for it, and not for your approval. Please keep that in mind."
Yeah.
What made you want to write that?
It was because of the Rebel Girl stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I think that the new generation, with the way that social media has evolved, there's a certain entitlement that happens. And I'm just communicating the fact that if I didn't love music and I didn't have a direct vision, then it wouldn't be as powerful when you listen to it. And that if I lose that vision by compromising and having everyone's opinions in there with me, then it'll be a watered down, then I'd be a Disney artist and it would be pop music. Like I can't make music that makes everyone happy, and I want to make music for myself. I love, on a human level, I love listening to everyone's opinions and things like that, and they all matter and they come from somewhere, but I always necessarily don't agree. And when I'm in the studio, if I keep that in mind, it'll just water down my art, and that's not why I do it. It's more of a stressful thing. So I was just trying to communicate it in an honest way, but trying not to be too negative at the same time.
So what's happening after Warped Tour?
After Warped Tour, hopefully the record comes out. It's time. We're going to, we're doing like a week of shows in the south of America, because we didn't like Florida, Atlanta, Nashville, because we didn't get to hit those markets when we did headlining before, when we got back together. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to gear up for this new release. We're just going to take probably a couple months, get everything done, shoot all the videos, do everything. That way, when it starts rolling out early next year, we can be on point and ready to go, because there's no stopping after that.
So we can expect you back here for a headliner?
Yes, I hope so. I hope so soon. Yeah, we're planning on doing, I don't know necessarily if it's going to be a headliner right out of the gates, but I know that we're hoping that we do festivals. So hopefully everybody just goes on social media and tells people to bring us to the festivals. You know who you have to talk to. And yeah, we're definitely making it a point to come back overseas, I think around the release of the record. So it'll be as early as next year.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.